We're going to continue where we took off. Parashat Chayei Sarah, it's page 121b. And we finished yesterday learning the Tosefta for the Zohar. And very briefly what we talked about the last couple days is we were going through the story of Yona and Navi. And we're now going to try to see what's the connection between the story of Yona and Chayei Sarah. We explained that Yona and Navi, when he was thrown into the ocean, he wasn't just having a fishing trip with a whale. He died. And after that, he was revived and brought back to life. What we call in our generation a near-death experience. If there was YouTube 2,000 years ago, he would have a channel and go on lectures around the world. But nevertheless, he had a near-death experience, and that's when he got back.
Did he come back when he was spit out?
Excuse me?
Did he come back to life when he was spit out? Or?
That he doesn't say. He doesn't say, but he just said that when he was thrown into the water, he actually died. And then when the whale swallowed him, the whale died. And then when Yona was brought back, then he was brought back and the whale was brought back. Whether he stayed there alive actually in the stomach for 3 days doesn't say, but nevertheless, we learned that to understand that when we go to sleep at night, the Zohar says that our soul goes up to Shamayim and it goes to the Beit Din of the Kadosh Baruch Hu and it gets judged throughout the night. And that's what happens to us when we go to sleep. So if you hear somebody snoring real loud, just know there's a lot of noise in the heavenly court there. So, but it says, the Zohar says that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, he takes the bad things that we did, and that of course goes against us, but then he takes all the future and the potential good things that we're about to do, and he adds that to the judgment, and therefore we have the zchut to come back again. But every night it's decided if I'm going to stay up there or come back. Therefore when you wake up in the morning, you have to be very thankful for the Kadosh Baruch Hu for being so merciful and bringing you back. Then we went to explain about how the dinim that coming from the world above, they dwell in the malchut. That was explaining why when Yona was thrown into the ocean calmed down, and when he was on the ship, then the ocean was stormy. Why? Because the ocean, the malchut is called ocean, and the dinim that are dwelling in the sphere of malchut, they were, so to say, stormy. There was a lot of dinim, a lot of judgments against Yona and Navi. Since the Shekhinah, he brings down the prophecy to the prophets through the sphere of Malchut, although there are prophets that they get their prophecy from different sphirot, but specifically Yona got his nevuah, his prophecy from Malchut. Since he ran away, he didn't want to accept the prophecy, he ignored it. It's like watching TV and comes a show that you don't like, you switch a channel. And then you see the same face, switch a channel again, and so he got prophecy and he was switching channels, it didn't work. So, since the Malchut was the one who was providing the prophecy, so the Malchut was demanding judgment. So every time he was thrown into the ocean, the Malchut, the dinim come down, so the ocean come down. Once the Malchut received what it was asking, then the ocean completely come down. Then we went to explain in the Tosefta how the wicked people live their life in a life of nothingness, of emptiness. All they care about is money, fame, status, what they wear, what they drive, and so forth. And needless to say, no connection to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now what happens when they leave the world? There is a certain angel that is in charge of Gehenom. He's the head angel. His name is Duma. And he's the one who comes and takes the neshama, and he puts the neshama in Gehenom, and then the neshama will get thrown again into another body, what we call a gilgul. Yesterday we trying to figure out, incarnation or reincarnation is not the right word. Rather, the word in Hebrew is gilgul, to roll over. You roll over from this body to another body. Now, what happens is that if you don't fulfill what you're supposed to do in this life, you'll roll over to another life and roll over till you're done. The problem is, we explained yesterday that life is like a video game. You get 3 lives, 4 lives, 5 lives, whatever you get in the video game. The Arizal says you get 3 times, 3 opportunities. If you mess it up in 3 opportunities, Duma erases you from the book. This is why we say on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, you should be inscribed into the book of life. Because if you get deleted from the book of life, you don't come back here again. Not in this world, not in a body, not in Tchiyat HaMetim. So the Arizal says, if at least in one of the 3 rounds you did something, you did tshuva, then they'll give you another one, a bonus round, and a bonus round, and a bonus round. And the more you do good, the more mercy the Kadosh Baruch Hu has, and he will continue, okay, do another Gilgul, another life. And not necessarily that's a punishment, rather a zchut to finish with the mitzvot that I didn't perform. This is very briefly what we did in the last couple of days. We were talking about, this comes from the Tosefta, how there's a heavenly voice. It comes down from the world of Atzilut, through the world of the sphere of Malchut, and kind of poking us like a thorn, telling us, wake up, do tshuva, and so forth. Now we continue to the pasuk, to the verse that we started the parasha with. So again, if you want to follow, page 121b, 121b, Kuf Kaf Aleph Amud Bet, and the line starts with Vayihiyu Chayei Sarah. We go back to the original pasuk. The parasha starts with the life of Sarah were 127 years, Shtei Chayei Sarah, the 2 lives of Sarah. Ma ishna hacha besara dichtiv mitatata beoraita. Why does the Torah choose to let me know about the death of Sarah? It doesn't let me know about the death of everybody. Okay, when we read about Aaron that died, Moshe that died, Yaakov that died, Abraham, but okay, these are the celebrities. But not everybody we hear about their death. Why is the Torah choosing to tell me about the death of Sarah? Mikol neshei de alma, from all the women of the world. I mean, we know many women. It doesn't say in the Torah when Yocheved died. It doesn't say in the Torah when Leah died. Right? So it doesn't say many things. No, there are women that it says that they died, but there are many women that it doesn't say when Chava died. We don't know how old she was. It says about Adam HaRishon, he was 930 years. We don't know how old Chava was when she died. She's the mother of all mothers. And many others. Why Dafka Sarah from all the women in the world? Why was Sarah chosen to mention that her death in the Torah? Ktiv, as it says, Ha'achi mitaton be'oraita. That the other women, it doesn't say their death in the Torah. Amar Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia said to Rabbi Yossi. If you remember, the Bala Ma'amar is Rabbi Yossi. He started the Ma'amar. And he asked the question, why is Sarah mentioned the death? Rabbi Chia answers him, Velav. It doesn't say what? It doesn't say about other women's death in the Torah. Why are you being so, so particular? The other women that we know about that they died. Even, for example, here we have very soon, a few weeks. It says when Rachel died and she was buried on the path, in the path where it's called Ephrata. Not only that, Miriam. Also said about Miriam that she died. Why are you being so stingy, or whatever the right word? So picky. Not only that, like Benji says, also Dvorah, it says that when she passed away, she died. But this is not Dvorah, by the way, the prophet. We're talking about Dvorah Meyaneket Rivka, the mother. No, Meyaneket is like the breastmaid, the nanny of Rivka. So here it says again, it says Uchtiv Vatamot Dvorah, and Dvorah died. We are a third woman that we see that is mentioned in the Torah that she died. And who's this Dvorah? Meyaneket Rivka, the nanny, the breastfeeder of Rivka. I mean, after all, Rivka was taken from the home very young of Lavan. Not only that, it says Uchtiv Vatamot Bat Shua Eshet Yehuda. The wife of Yehuda also, it says that she died. So what's going on here? Why are you saying to me, Rabbi Yossi, that you're so shocked that the death of Sarah is mentioned in the Torah? Here I just mentioned to you 4 women, just like that, off the bat. So you see, right away it says in the Torah, of the death of women. Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi answers, Bechul hu lo chtiv kama dichtiv besara. But you know what's the difference? It doesn't say the same thing like Sarah. It's Sarah, it says her age. The rest of the women, it just says that they died. Okay, so they say, "Bechulhu lo chtiv." No, all of them. It doesn't say kama dichtiv b'Sara. How much years? Deit marveyu Chayei Sarah. What does it say? And the life of Sarah was 100 years, ve'esrim shana, and 20 years, ve'sheva shanim, and 7 years. Shnei Chayei Sarah, which means the Torah mentioned her years. That we don't know of many people. Chava, we don't know how old she was when she was died. Rachel, Leah, what do we know how old were they when they died? Some of them we can calculate. With Miriam, you can calculate. But nevertheless, other women, we don't know. And all the rest of the ladies, it doesn't say the days of their lives like it says in Sarah. Not only, not only that, she's the only one who got a parasha. Nobody got a parasha. Miriam didn't get a parasha. Rachel didn't get a parasha. Only Sarah got a parasha. So maybe that shows a little bit of status here. Ela raza ihu. But if this is the case, then obviously there's some type of a secret here. When the Torah says at the end of the verse, Shnei Chayei Sarah, what do you mean Shnei Chayei Sarah? Well, she had two lives? Or at night she was one Sarah and in the morning she was a different Sarah? What does it mean she had two lives? There's a big secret here. Begin hu darga dechol yomin ushnin devarnash betalyan. For the reason that the level that every day of our life has a meaning to it. This is not by chance that a person dies a certain time. There's already, what did you say the other day? That when we wake up, the eviction papers and on the birth certificate. You didn't even open your eyes, there's already a date when you're leaving the world. It says, בשביל אותה מדרגה שהיא המלכות, for that level that is called מלכות, שכל הימים והשנים של חיי אדם בזה תלויים, every day of the life of the person is dependent, וממנה נמשכו חיי שרה קכ"ז שנים. From the place where what is nourishing years, for Sarah she got 127 years. Why? To teach you שהיא תיקנה והשלימה את נשמתה, she was able to rectify and do a tikkun to her soul, בכל היוד ספירות של המלכות. She was able to make a tikkun in all 10 ספירות of the sphere of malchut. דהיינו, where do we get that? 100 שנה. So we know in malchut there are 10 ספירות included in 10 ספירות. כנגד הכתר שבה, שהוא בסוד מאות, לכן הוא כלול מ100. Since it's included in the malchut, there's 10 sfirot into 10 sfirot. This is called the keter of malchut. So there's 100 sfirot just over there. So that's the 100. What's the 20 that you said here? We said 100 shana, 20 shana, ו7 shanim. What's the 20? 20 is corresponding to chokhmah and bina. The chokhmah and bina in her. Shehem besod asarot. In chokhmah there are 10 sfirot, in bina there are 10 sfirot. לכן, כל אחת כלולה מ10 בחינות. So, חוכמה is 10, בינה is 10. ו7 שנים, what is this 7? כנגד הזין תחתונות. This is corresponding to חסד גבורה תפארת נצח הוד יסוד מלכות, שהם בסוד יחידות. These are the secrets that they only come in one. לכן כל אחת כלולה מבחינה אחת. Therefore, each ספירה in the זעיר אנפין, including מלכות, is considered one. And Sarah תיקנה והשלימה נשמתה בכולם. Sarah was able to rectify all the levels in her neshama. בכלל, we know that Sarah was a gilgul of Chava. How do we know that she was her gilgul? If you remember, when the Malachim came to tell her that Sarah is going to have a baby, what does it say? Ka'et chaya ve'lesara ben. What's ka'et chaya? What is this chaya? Chaya was the name of Chava. Chaya, originally, her name was Chaya. Then when she sinned, she became a Chava. First of all, the Yud of Chaya was pulled into the Klippa, so it was made a Vav. More than that, once Chava sinned, Chaya, when she sinned, right away she got divorce papers. Adam HaRishon told her, out, I don't want you. He gave her a get and he threw her out. For 130 years, they were divorced. That's why it says, after 130 years again, he remarried her, and then they started having Shet and the rest of the kids. Right away when he divorced her, the snake came to Chava and told her, listen, I don't know if you noticed, but I have a profile on JDates. I am single. And I noticed that you are on the market, Mrs. Chava. How about you and me? What do you think about a few drinks tonight? You and me? Maybe we can go home together. And then he told her, listen, my name is, I'm a snake. And how do you say snake in Aramaic? Chivya. And he told her, my name is Chivya, so your name should be Chava. So the Nachash, when he pulled her into the Klippa, so he turned her from Chaya into Chava. So she had to come back again in an incarnation into Sarah. And when Sarah, well, that's why she was barren, because she wasn't able to have kids. Only when she reached to a level of a tikkun, she was able to have kids, and Hashem gave her a womb. She didn't even have a womb. Then the Malachim, they said, if you remember, there were 3 Malachim that came to Avraham Avinu. Came Raphael to cure Abraham, came Gabriel to destroy Sodom, and came Michael to take Lot out of Sodom. So when they came, what does it say? Look in the verse last week. Ka'et chaya ve'lesara ben. Ka'et chaya. Right now you reached to your tikkun. Now you brought back the rectification for chaya. Now you can have a boy. So Sarah did a tikkun for Chava. But nevertheless, she was able to rectify all 10 sfirot in the Malchut. She was able to reach to a very high level of a tikkun.
What was the tikkun?
Excuse me? It doesn't say specifically, it just said that she was able to do a tikkun to all the levels of her neshama. Specifically, what's the 100? Let's recap real quick. In the Malchut is built from 10 sfirot, included in 10 sfirot. So that's 100. The Chochmah and Bina, each one includes in the 10 sfirot. And the 7 is the Zayin Tachtonot. Chesed Gvura Tiferet Netzachot Yesod Malchut. She was able to do a tikkun for entire levels of neshama.
Her name was Sarai for a while?
In the beginning her name was Sarai. She had an extra yud. She couldn't get pregnant because she didn't have a hay. And if you remember, we learned about that. All the mothers that don't have a hay couldn't get pregnant. So, for example, if you remember, who's another mother that didn't get pregnant? Was Rachel. She doesn't have a hay. Leah has a hay. Now, who assisted Rachel to get pregnant? Bilhah. She had two hays. So what does she say? Let me take from her a hay, umimena ibaneh. So she took the hay of Bilhah and she was able to get pregnant. The only one who was barren for a long time that had a hay was Rivka. But nevertheless, the Zohar says that there was a reason why she was barren for so long. But the point is that Sarai didn't have a hay, she couldn't get pregnant. Hay is a female letter. If you look in Sefer Yetzirah, you see that Sefer Yetzirah explains that some letters are female, some letters are male. Hey is a female letter, it's a letter of fertility. So even today, women that can get pregnant, then they add the hay to their name, or they add a name with a hay in it. But nevertheless, and it's important that the hay is at the end. Anyways, we learned that, if you remember, we started learning that about the names. But Sarai couldn't have a baby. She was completely barren. But Sarah already reached to a level of rectification, and she was able to get pregnant. As a side note, the Arizal says in Shar Gilgulim, in the Gates of Reincarnation, that when we come down to this world, very briefly, he says that we have to first rectify all the sfirot in the nefesh. Then when we mature and we're able to rectify all the sfirot in the nefesh, then we receive a ruach, then we start correcting everything in the ruach, and then the neshama and so forth. And then we go from nefesh de atzilut and ruach de atzilut, and there's a lot it goes into details in Shar Gilgulim. You can find the reference over there, specifically in chapters, I believe it's Zayin, Chet, and Tet. It's talking about it, 7, 8, and 9. Very, very interesting. He's giving examples, what level David HaMelech was able to reach, what level Shlomo HaMelech was able to reach. I believe it was Shlomo that were able to reach ruach de atzilut, and David HaMelech, I think, was able to reach neshama of atzilut. But nevertheless, very high levels of tikkunim. We have to first rectify the level of nefesh, and he explains that we have 50 levels just to rectify in nefesh. And we're constantly going up and down and up and down, and you can reach to almost till the top, you do a sin and you go down. And the analogy we gave here is the snakes and ladders, that you go up and you hit a ladder, whoop, you jump up. You hit a snake, you fall down. Very Kabbalistic game. I mean, the snake represents the klipa, it pulls you down. So, but nevertheless, just so we can continue a little bit because we don't have much time. Here he says Maybe the rest we'll leave for tomorrow because it's a long paragraph and we're not going to be able to finish it. But since we're talking about the Gilgulim, let me just reiterate what the Arizal says specifically about tikkun nefesh, because we already mentioned it, it's important to know. Our nefesh has 5 levels, and he explains it because there are 5 partsufim and each partsuf has 10 sfirot. That brings us 50 levels in our nefesh. And every time that I will do a tikkun, I will go 1 level higher, a level higher, another level higher. Exactly with the analogy of snakes and ladders. Sometimes in my life I can hit a ladder and boom, and I jump up to a very high level. And then I can chas v'shalom stumble and I meet a snake and I fall down. I do a sin and I fall down again. And I constantly going up and down and up and down. The danger in the level of the nefesh that I can go all the way to 49 and then sin and go all the way down again. The point in our life is to reach to 50 levels, and then I have a nefesh metukenet. And my nefesh is completely rectified, then I get a ruach. With ruach it's a little bit different, there's no such a thing, there's no madrigot in ruach, rather ruach multiplies itself. So you do a tikkun to the ruach, you get another ruach. You do another tikkun to the ruach, another ruach. You get a few levels of the ruach. And the same thing with neshama. Our point to focus here is to reach a tikkun for the nefesh. So when I fall, I have to understand that I stumbled on a landmine, on a snake, and I fell down in my level. So here, I think we're going to finish here just because the next part is long and we're not going to be able to finish it. We'll continue it tomorrow. But just to conclude, it's telling us that Sarah was in a very high spiritual level. She was able to reach a very high level of tikkun. I personally don't know. There are different books that we have from different Mekubalim that point out whose incarnation. There is a book from the Rama from Pano. Rama from Pano has a lot of books about Gilgulim. He has a lot of very interesting books. And one of his books, it's actually called Sefer HaGilgulim. And he says there whose reincarnations. It's very, very interesting. He says that Haman is the incarnation of Esav, and he starts putting everybody together, and he actually connecting it with different drashot in the Gemara. Very, very interesting book to want to see who became who. But nevertheless, if you remember, a few weeks ago we were learning in the Zohar how there were 2 great tzaddikim that never got incarnated, which is David HaMelech and Daniel the prophet. And if you remember, we learned about it a few weeks ago, that they reached to such a tikkun, they didn't have to come back and get reincarnated again in a Gilgul. But nevertheless, Sarah was able to reach such a tikkun, and without him continuing, he says that Sarah, why does it say he hears? Not only because what we mentioned with the Sfirot, probably also to hint that she didn't have to come back again. So we already saw how old she was, and maybe the rest of the ones that didn't mention their years, they had to come back again. So how many people in the Torah we know how old they were? Very few, it says, about their age when they died. Nevertheless, we'll continue tomorrow. Very, very interesting, and tomorrow is already Thursday, so we'll try to screen as much as we can from the Ma'amar here. And in the meantime, what we need to, since we like to take things practically, is to understand that I'm here every day here as a tikkun. That's why it says Shnei Chayei Sarah, that the days of my life, if I have a day that I wasted, and it's already now 6 o'clock in the evening, and I didn't do what I need to do, I wasted a day. And I'm not going to get this extra day. Very few people, they get extra days, a bonus round. So we have to really, that's what we were talking about yesterday and the day before, how valuable our days are. Don't find yourself wasting time on nonsense. Like he said yesterday in the Tosefta, the wicked people, they waste their time. Their life is empty. Another day. What did you do today? Nothing, I just woke up at 11 and I was hanging out in the beach or I don't know what. You didn't do nothing today. You didn't learn 4 hours Torah today. You didn't pray. What did you do today? So we gotta be very particular, very careful that we don't find ourselves that our days are empty. So this is one of the things not only that Avraham Avinu is teaching us, but Avraham Zaken Ba Be'emim, Sarah the same thing. Shnei Chayei Sarah, her life were full of till the max, and not necessarily saying it's easy, but every hour of the day you have to make a reset for the system. Where am I holding? Am I wasting my time? It's already 10, it's already 11, it's 11, 12. So sometimes it's hard, a lot of things to do, and sometimes too many things pull you to different directions. But the point is that we have to be very focused on our days, not to miss time, not to miss opportunities, and the day should be completely full to the max. Before we continue, there's a real short preparation about before what we can about to learn. This is brought by the Al-Sheikh, and he says the meaning of the next verse that we're going to learn, Ve'itaron Aretz, that it's talking about a verse from the book of Kohelet, that it says that there's an advantage to the land, Ve'itaron Eretz, not Aretz, I'm sorry. He says, Ma shenira sheshi yitaron umutar be'eretz, what seems to look like an advantage in the land, meaning sheyesh reshaim hagozlim v'chomsim, some people, they're wicked and they do gezel, they steal, and they also chomsim, and they do all sorts of acts of robbery and stealing and cheating and so forth. But nevertheless, you know what you see? HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo ma'aviram min haaretz. The Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't kill them or take them away from the land or destroy them. Bechol hi, in all these things there's a benefit. Saying, רצה לומר שהקדוש ברוך הוא צופה ומביט עד סוף כל הדורות. The Kadosh Baruch Hu looks at the person, and he's not only looking at the person's actions right now, he's looking at all the generations later, and ורואה שזה הרשע יעמיד בן צדיק. And he says, you know, this person right now is evil or wicked, but I see down the line, 1 generation, 2 generations, maybe 5 generations, a tzaddik coming from that person. ולכן הוא מקיים אותו. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I have to leave him in this world. You know, the Mashiach comes from Lot, from a forbidden relation. And just imagine that the Kadosh Baruch Hu could have looked down and saw what the daughters of Lot did. We read it last week, and say, I don't need this guy in the world. But he looked so many generations down and says, you know, Mashiach is coming from there. So how many times we see a situation like that, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, let him stay, because down the line will come a great tzaddik. And the verse continues by saying, Melech lesadeh ne'evad. A king is for a land that was worked on. אבל מישהו מאבד שדהו, the person that is plowing his field, so to say, ואינו גוזל וחומס, and he doesn't go and steal. Plowing the field meaning that I work hard for my living, I don't go and steal. ונהנה מיגיע כפו, and I enjoy what I earn. Some people, they go and work, and they work hard, and they're happy with what they have. Some people say, I don't want to work, let me go and steal, let me go and cheat, let me go and rob, or whatever it is. But the one who works hard, he says, "Hu chai chayei shalva kemelech." He has a peaceful life. So there is a verse in Kohelet. We're going to explain it now. The Al-Sheikh just wanted to give us a little preparation. The verse can be found in Kohelet chapter 5 and verse 8, and it says, "V'itaron eretz bechol hi," the advantage of the land wherever it is, melech lesadeh ne'evad. The king is works on the land. Ve'itaron, so it says, Patach ve'amar. Rabbi Yossi started explaining the verse that we just read. What it says, Ve'itaron eretz bechol hi, melech hasadeh ne'evad. What is the meaning of this verse? Pirush. Ve'itaron eretz, the advantage of the land, ma sheyesh yitaron v'tosefet shel shefa b'malchut הנקרא eretz. This is an advantage when there's an addition shefa, an addition blessing in the sphere of malchut that is called eretz. ובכלל זה גם מה שיש שפע ברכה בארץ התחתונה. Needless to say, that will affect an abundance, a shefa in the world below. בכל היא ודאי. Of course, no question here that the blessing starts in the sphere of Yesod, and the Yesod is called Kol. That's why it says V'itron Eretz Bakol. וממנו נמשך אליה, and the shefa, the abundance that can be found in the sphere of Yesod, it comes down to the sphere of Malchut. That's why this is off the subject. By the Yesod is the foundation, and when a person is damaging the sphere of the Yesod, then this will come from many different things, but specifically from forbidden relations, then he damages the shefa. All the abundance that the person has to get, he makes pokes a hole in the balloon. Because the yesod is a foundation, but we explained many times that the yesod is like a basin. All the abundance, all the energy that comes from the world above, it gets caught, so to say, in the basin, in this yesod. And then it will be transferred into the malchut, and the malchut will be the power that will transform from the spiritual to the physical, and then the shefa comes into this world. And a person that damages the yesod, then all the shefa gets spread all over the place. So it's almost like having a cup. Somebody pours a very good wine to it, but the cup has a lot of holes, and all the wine within minutes, seconds, spreads all over the place, and you're left with a few drops on your hand. So that's how important it is when a person feels that there's a problem with the shefa, with some type of a blockage with the abundance that's supposed to come from above. One has to check himself. Maybe he damaged the vessel of the yesod. Now he continues and he says, Deha metama nafkin ruchin v'nishmatin. From the yesod comes out all the ruchot and all the neshamot, the ruach and neshama, v'to'alta le'alma, and the benefits from them into the world. Saying in other words that all the shefa, all the abundance of food, mezonot. Now mezonot is not only food, mezonot is also money and your sustenance, your parnasa and so forth. V'sh'ar kol minei tzarkei olam. Not only just your parnasa. I know people like money, but mezonot is not only your money. It's not only your sustenance. Any type of blessing, any shefa that comes, that's supposed to come to you, they all come down from the sphere of Yesod. וכמו שכתוב, as it says, melech לשדה נאבד. It says a king for a field that is being worked on, like plowed. And he's asking, Man melech, who's this melech that it's talking about? The verse. He says, Daku Chabricho. This is referring to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Whenever it mentions here the Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's referring to the Zeir Anpin. The Zeir Anpin is the 6 Firot in the world of Atzilot. Excuse me, Lesadeh Ne'ebad. What is it referring to? To the field that is being plowed or worked on. This is referring to the Malchut. Because Malchut is also called the field. We find that many times in the teachings of the Arizal, where he talks about many different fields. One of them is the field of holy apples, Chakal Tepuchin Kadishin. Why a field? So this is a compartment, so to say, or department of the Malchut, and it's called Sadeh. There's a reason why it's called Sadeh, a field. Now, the person that, it says, Lasadeh Ne'evad, if you want to take the simple explanation of the words, so Sadeh is field, Ne'ebad is when you plow it, La'abed et Sadeh. But there's another way of explaining it. Pirush mesha'abed atzmo. When I humble myself, I can, so to say, לשעבד is when I give over from myself. להשפיע בכל מיני השפעות דרך היסוד. That I'm with my humility and my selfness. When I do actions, then the benefit of my actions, they bring a shefa, an abundance, from the Yesod to the Malchut, and the Malchut is the field. Just the other day, I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about the redemption, and how important is our behavior to affect the coming of the redemption, and one should not say the whole world are liars, so I can lie too. My action is very important. I can be the one, not me. I'm saying each and every one of us can have power to bring the redemption. With me being honest, with me not being judgmental, with me making good acts of kindness and learning Torah. So I talked with somebody who was very active and very serious about helping bring the redemption, being aware of the situation. And I told him, the idea in us trying to bring the redemption is not because I'm going to benefit from it. Of course, if Mashiach is going to come right now, I'm going to benefit from it, because I'm not going to have any problems anymore. I'm not going to have health problems, chas v'shalom. I'm not going to have marital problems. I'm not going to have financial problems. Of course I want Mashiach to come. But I told him what we need to focus on when we want to bring the Mashiach is because the Shekhinah is in exile. It's not about me. Bringing the Geulah, the redemption, has nothing to do with me. The Shekhinah, the feminine aspect of the divine, is in exile because of my sins, and I have to want to bring the redemption because a piece of Hashem is in exile. And I can't be self-motivated here because it's me. It has nothing to do with me here. Same thing here. He says when a person gives himself over to serve Hashem for the reason that I want this abundance to be influencing the Malchut, that's what one needs to strive for. And now when the Malchut is being rectified karaui means the right way. How is the Malchut being rectified? Al yedei mitzvot u'masim tovim shel hatachtonim. By us, humans, doing mitzvot and good deeds, we are able to rectify damages in the world above. So he explains it a little bit more, and he says, U'melech da melech ila'ah. When it says the word melech in the verse, a king, it's referring to the king above. Deitchabar lesadeh kad ihu ne'ebad. The king, of course, is referring to Hashem, and it gets connected to the Malchut, that she's me'ubedet u'metukenet. It's so to say ripe and rectified. Man sadeh, who's the word sadeh, field, what is that referring to? And he says, Da sadeh asher berecho Hashem. This is the field that Hashem blessed him. This is of course the Malchut, that is receiving the blessing from Hashem. Dichtiv kereach sadeh. There is a verse in Bereshit 27 that it says that it had a smell of a field. A couple times we already ran into that term. When Avraham Avinu, how did Avraham Avinu found Marat Machpelah? It's not that he knew about it. Nobody knew where Adam HaRishon is buried. And that's where you see the kindness of Hashem. I mean, after all, in this parasha, Avraham Avinu, he has his eye on this piece of property. Now, it wasn't even Avraham Avinu, it was Sarah. And the poem, the eulogy of Eshet Chayil, many people think that Shlomo Melech wrote it. It's actually Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu wrote it as a eulogy to Sarah. It's not Shlomo Melech. Shlomo Melech took it and added it to the book of Mishlei, Proverbs. But nevertheless, it's Avraham Avinu who wrote it about Sarah. If you want, Tuesday we had a beautiful class about Eshet Chayil. It's online. You can go and watch it because it's very, very interesting. All the hidden meanings behind the verses. And there's so much. I mean, we gave one class for an hour and a half, it's not enough. So in this class, we brought all the sources. Where do we know that Avraham Avinu sang it? And he sang it for Sarah. And what is every verse? I don't know if you noticed, but Eshet Chayil Mimsa has 22 verses. Starts with an Aleph, Eshet Chayil Mimsa. Bat Achbar Lev Bara, goes to Bet, and then Gamala to Tov Elora, goes Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, through all the alphabet. And each verse has beautiful gems, hidden meanings. So there's a verse that says, Zamama Sadeh Vatikacheo. Sarah already had her eye on that piece of property, and she told her husband, I want this piece of property. Zamama Sadeh. She had the desire for this field. Vatikacheo. When did she take it? Tikacheo means she took it. When did she took it? When she died. So how did they find out about Marat Machpelah? They think there was a realtor? There wasn't a realtor that told him, listen, I got a great property for you. So rather, the story says that when the angels came to bless Sarah with a child and heal Avraham Avinu, then Avraham Avinu ran back the back door and he took 3 bulls and he slaughtered them to make a good steak. So the Torah says that he made them, a delicatessen, a tongue with mustard, delicacy. So he went and took 3 bulls. He slaughtered the first bull, slaughtered the second bull. The third one says, whoa, this Avram looks a little bit mad today. He's slaughtering all the chevre. The bull ran away. Avraham Avinu starts running after the bull. The guy's like 99 years old. Right 3 days after circumcision, he's running with the knife after the bull. So the bull is running away. He's running after the bull. And the bull ran all the way to Hebron till he went into Kiryat Arba, and the bull led him into Marat Machpelah. And Avraham Avinu suddenly goes in and he's like, what's this beautiful smell? And he says he smelled Gan Eden, Reach Gan Eden. And then he walked in and he sees the souls of Adam and Chava surrounded with beautiful light, and he figured out, whoa, Sarah, you got to see what I found, this gorgeous place. So then he goes to Bnei Chet and he tells them, by the way, it's not that it's so important to me, but I want this piece of land. But Avraham Avinu knew exactly what's going on with this land, and we just read today, he made the first real estate deal in history. Needless to say, many people say he overpaid, but doesn't matter, we still own it. But nevertheless, we find a couple times the smell of the field. This is the field, if you remember, it doesn't say in the beginning in the Torah, Ma'arat Machpelah, rather it's called it Sde Ephron, the field of Ephron, because it was a field and on it was a little property. Nevertheless, so when it says in the verse, the word Sadeh, it's referring to the great smell of the Malchut. Asher berecho Hashem, that Hashem has blessed it. This is referring to the Zeir Anpin. The kad ihu ne'ebad ve'ittakan bechol mad de'itzrich le kid kayot, that when the Malchut is being rectified with what it needs, meaning mitzvot and good deeds, she'al yadam hi ma'ala mayin nukbin. By the mitzvot and the good deeds, the Malchut is able to elevate this shefa, this energy, into the world above. And then it causes the king above, the master of the universe, to get connected with the Malchut and bless it. That's why we say before we do many mitzvot, L'shem yichud kudshav richu shchinteh, for the sake of the unity of the Kadosh Baruch Hu and his feminine aspect of the divine, which is kudsha brichu and the Shekhinah. When is all this done? When we do Torah and mitzvot. Now he continues and he says, Rabbi Elazar Amar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, says, on this verse, Melech lasadeh ne'ebad, kama gavnei razin elayin hacha. How many types of beautiful secrets from the world above you can explain on this verse. Why? Because Melech, da Shekhinah, the Melech is also talking about the Shekhinah, that she molechet batachtonim, that it's kind of ruling in the world above. Delo sharya beveta littakna ba ella bezimna deitnesiv barnash. The Shekhinah doesn't dwell in a person's house in a way that it's permanent. Ella bezman she'aish nesui. Only when the man is married. When the man is married, then the Shekhinah dwells onto the house. We know the wife, she brings the blessing into the house. Veizdavak be'intete le'olada u'leme'abad ibin. And then, when the person marries his wife, in order to be able to have children, then ve'ihi apikat nishmatin la'ashra abba, the Shekhinah is able to bring souls down to the world and to place it in the stomach of the woman. Not the stomach, the womb. Uvegin kach, and because of that, lasadeh neba, that's why it says the field is ripe. Hashchina shora al isha, the Shekhinah dwells on the woman. Ve'al ba'ala, and then to the husband. When the woman, he sadeh ne'ebedet v'osa perot mi ba'ala. When the wife is righteous, when the wife is a good woman, then she's like a ready field. Sometimes you can have a field, you'll plant in it, nothing will come out. If the field is plowed and fixed and whatever needs to be done, then you come and plant something and it starts growing. Same thing here, when the woman is called sadeh ne'ebedet, a very ripe, good field, then she's able to do fruit from her husband. Ve'la la'achara, ve'ena shora bebayit she'en yichud sham ish ve'ishto. And the Shekhinah, the Ramak says, the Shekhinah will dwell on a house when there's a yichud, a unity between the husband and the wife. Needless to say, when the husband and wife fight, disagree, or chas v'shalom, worse things than that, violence and all sorts of other things that are not appropriate, and the Shekhinah doesn't dwell there. When the house is a shlom bayit, and the husband and wife respect each other, and then the Shekhinah can dwell there. And needless to say, that how important it is to find your wife. Another thing that he says, davar acher, another thing, on the word melech, on the word king, da isha yirat Hashem. This is referring to a woman that she's God-fearing. Melech, the king, is referring to the Shekhinah, when she's controlling the world below. ובבחינה זו נקראת אישה יראת השם. This is, if you remember the poem of Eshet Chayil, that's what we say, אישה יראת השם, היא תתהלל, a woman that is fearing Hashem. כמה דעת אמר, אישה יראת השם, היא תתהלל, as it says in the psalm in Mishlei of Eshet Chayil. This is referring to the Shekhinah. And as it says, L'sadeh ne'evad, when it's talking about the field, this is referring to da isha zara. This is referring to the foreign woman. Who's this foreign woman? This is Lamed Yud Taf, the wife, the original wife of Adam HaRishon. And she's also called Sadeh. Now when the Shekhinah is being worked on and rectified, when the Shekhinah is being defected by the sins of the lower realm, Kama Da'at Amar, as it says, Lishmercha Misha Zara, to save you from a foreign woman. This is also in Mishlei, a verse. Shehi Eshet Zirunim, it's referring to this foreign woman. And she comes and she has control. Alisha Zara Atmea, La'achar Shelo Kashe Begil, because when you give opportunity to this foreign woman to come and control, then she has control. She takes away all the shefa. Begin the itzadeh v'itzadeh. There's one type of field and another type of field. One field is, of course, the malchut, and the other one is referring to lamed yud taf. And he explains itzadeh dechol birchan v'kiddushin b'sharyan. There's one field that this is the Shekhinah, and she gets all the holy blessings. Kama de'at amar kereach sadeh asher v'ercho Hashem, as it says, as a great scent of a field that Hashem has blessed it, that the word sadeh, field, is referring to the Shekhinah. Ve'it sadeh, there's also another type of field, dechol cheruv u'mesave v'shetza v'katolin v'karvin be, sharyan, all the impurity and the destruction and killing and wars and all these bad things, they dwell there. That's when we do the opposite of mitzvot and good deeds. V'hai melech, and the Shekhinah, zimnin de'ihu ne'ebad lehai sadeh, sometimes with the sins of the world below, she's given over to the other side of holiness, to the Sitra Acha. Lehashpia mishefa kadosh, takes all this abundance and give it to the other side of holiness. As it says, dichtiv tachat shalosh ragza eretz. This is another verse from Mishlei. What does it mean, tachat eved ki imloch? Under the power of a slave. It's referring to the Samech Mem, that the Samech Mem is controlling the world while it's in exile. The Shifcha, who's this Shifcha that it's talking about? The maidservant. This is Lamed Yud Taf, his wife. Ki tirash gevirta, because she inherits her master. Why? She receives all the shefa from the world above. That's the Shekhinah. V'hai melech itkasya nehora v'itchashach. The Shekhinah gets covered and the light of the Shekhinah darkens. This is the secret of the diminishing, when the moon diminishes. How would you say the verb of diminishing, right? This is the secret of the diminishing of the moon. Because in the beginning the moon was shining like the sun. Then it slowly, when first of all the Kadosh Baruch Hu shrunk it because it had a little bit of an ego. But nevertheless, we see that the moon still has the nature of diminishing and diminishing and diminishing, and then it disappears. This is the idea behind it. When I sin, I, so to say, move some type of a spiritual valve, and all the shefa, instead of coming to me, it's going to the other side. This is what it's talking about. And at the end, where does it go to? It goes to the klipa. And the klipa starts sucking all this shefa, the abundance. Ad deit adkei. Till then the person becomes pure, and it brings it out from the klipa. V'itchabar le'ela, then it gets connected again to her husband, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uvegin kach sa'ir de Rosh Chodesh. That's why we have a special sacrifice on Rosh Chodesh. It's called a sa'ir. Sa'ir is a goat. Why do we do this special sa'ir on Rosh Chodesh? This is it's called a korban chatat, for a sin. And this is because the Shekhinah is trapped in the klipa, as it's to separate the Shekhinah from the klipa. That's why Right now we don't have Bet HaMikdash, but nevertheless, I can do a lot of great actions. I can be charitable, I can be kind, I can be nice, I can give charity, I can learn Torah and so forth, but then I do some sins. And then all this shefa, all this abundance that I produce goes directly to the Sitra Acha. And specifically on Rosh Chodesh, Zman Kapara, that's what we say in the Musaf, I'm able to retrieve it, to take it out. Begin the Parashat Chayei Mimalka Kadisha, because the holding, the possession of the klipa, what's called achizat klipa, it gets separated, and then the Shekhinah is able to rise above and go back to be connected to Hashem. And then the blessing don't dwell on the Sitra Acha, rather dwells on us. That's what it says, that the Zeir Anpin becomes tool to bless the Shekhinah. Keden Ktiv, as it says, Ki Basadeh Matza'a, and because he found her in the field. What does it mean? Ki Basadeh Kama Deitmar, as it says, this is the Sadeh of the Sitra Acha. And the Zeir Anpin founds the blessing over there. And the Shekhinah is thrown over there. Let's just read one more paragraph, then we can conclude it. Kani comes and says, and he gives a summary of the virtue of the field of Sarah Imenu. She wanted to be buried in that field. It says, Tachazi atat Chava le'alma. Come and see, when Chava came to the world, it's dabkat behai chivya ve'atil bazuhama. Chava came to the world, and unfortunately she failed and she got stuck to the snake, and he was able to, like a snake in our world, he puts his fangs in your skin, in your body, and he injects venom. Then the same idea, Chava got attached to the Nachash, to the snake, to the serpent, and he was able to, so to say, infect her with this impurity. What really happened here? He made her more physical. She was very spiritual. He made her more physical. And he took the switch of the Yetzer Hara and he turned it full power. It was like very, very low. So she didn't have much of a Yetzer Hara, the desire to the physical needs. He took, I'm using the word switch. Sometimes you have that button and you have full volume, turned up. He took it and he turned it all the way up. And he made her Yetzer Hara, her desire for physical things, most powerful. And then she started desiring physical things. Ve'garma mota le'alma u'levala. And that caused death to her and to her husband and to the entire world. She brought death to the world. Before Chava sinned, there wasn't any death. Ki hamita ikara leteret haguf bizuamat hanachash. Why death? One might argue and say death is not a good thing. But death is a good thing because we are affected or infected by this impurity of the snake. You can call it tumat met, impurity of death, or you can just call it, we call it tumat hanachash, the impurity of the nachash. What is this impurity? Is that I come to this world, put on the right hand a book of Chumash, and on the left hand a good meal. Let me sit and enjoy this steak right now. And we have a desire, and almost an uncontrollable desire for physical things. Now somebody will tell you, what do you prefer? Sitting a week in yeshiva and learning Torah, or I'll give you first class tickets to the Bahamas, the top suite in the most fanciest hotel, meals, dining, wining, whatever you want. And $10,000 to play in the casino, and. So most people say, forget about the yeshiva, I'm going to the Bahamas. I'll see you next week. So, and this is one example out of many, but we have a very strong desire for physical pleasures. This is the effect of the impurity of the Nachash. And in order to get rid of it, how do you get rid of it? Then Hashem says, I'll kill you, it will get rid of it. So because this impurity is on the body, it's not on the soul. If you kill the body, then the soul would leave the body, then I'm free from this impurity. So we look at death as something bad. But for the soul, it's like, Baruch Hashem, stuck in this disgusting body now for 80 years. All it wanted to do is eat and sleep and procreate and disgusting things, and couldn't even breathe here for 80 years. So he says here, by attaching her to the snake, she brought death to the world, but this is to purify the body for the impurity of the snake. Atat Sarah, but when Sarah came to the world, Venachatat, she went down from the holy land to a very unholy place, because if you look at the beginning, they came to Canaan. This is the holy land. They lived in Beersheba. Then they had to go down to Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is maybe a country 700 kilometers from here, but Mitzrayim is also a definition for the place where the Klipot are dwelling. So Sarah was in a very holy place in Canaan, and she went down to Mitzrayim, to the place of the Klipot. And you know what happened there? Velo nitmea betumat ervat Mitzrayim. She wasn't affected by the tumah of Mitzrayim. Vesalkat, and then she went up from Mitzrayim, but she went up from Mitzrayim pure, betahara. Vela iddabkat be, and she didn't get attached or affected by the klipa. Kama dat amar, as it says, vayal Avram, and Avram came out of Mitzrayim, hu veishto, him and his wife, vechol asher lo, and everything that he owned. What does it mean? Chol asher lo, everything that he owned. Allah b'shlemut im kol nitzotzim kadeshim. He went up in completion with all the sparks that he brought out from Mitzrayim. Velo nishar sham klum mima sheshayach lehem. He emptied Mitzrayim out. He took all the holy sparks. Therefore, lachen zachta Sarah likaber b'sdei Machpelah. That's why Sarah had the merit to be buried in the field of the Machpelah. Sheromez ala malchut. That is hinting for the malchut. Ata Noach le'alma. Now when came Noach to the world, remember Noach, we just read about him 2 weeks ago. What does it say about him? Maktiv, vayesh min hayayin, and he drank from the wine. Vayishkar vayitgal. He drank from the wine. What does it mean? He went down to the chambers of impurity. Venishkar, he got drunk from his wine. This is not wine. If you remember, we learned that 2 weeks ago on Friday. Noach said, you know what? I'm going to go down to the place of the Klipot, and I'm going to take Lamed Yud Taf, and I'm going to make her kosher and bring her up. And she stood there with a mini skirt and high heels and a lot of lipstick, and she told him, you want to make me pure? And within a second, she brought him down. He thought that he'll be able to bring her up, and she brought him down into the Klipah. So the wine that it's talking about the wine of the Sitra Acha, the venom of the Sitra Acha. So Noach fell right away into the Klipah. He had good intentions. He wanted to purify the world, because he knew that Lamed Yud Taf, she caused the problem. He says, no problem, I'll take care of business. I'll go down, I'll take care of her. And everybody was like, yeah, right, good luck, Noach. Nevertheless, Ovegin de Avram v'Sara lo itdabku be, since Avram and Sarah did not attach themselves to the Sitra Acha, begin kach Sarah zachta lechayin ilayin. Therefore, Sarah merited to bring life from the world above. To who? La ulebala velivnaha betara. She was able to bring life, real life. Life is not what we understand in this world. Real life, life from the world above. For her husband, for her child, Yitzchak, and everybody after that. Hada od yichtiv, as it says, habitu el tzur chutzvatem. There's a verse in the book of Yeshayahu that it says, look into the rock that they took out of the like the wall, like the mine. Meaning, look to the rock where you came from. I mean, we came from Avraham Avinu. Ve'el makevet bo nukartem. This is, I don't even know how to start translating the words, but nevertheless it says, you came to the hole of the pit, of the hole of the pit where you came out from, and this is called, it's referring to Sarah. And for that it says Chayei Sarah. That's why it says in the verse, and the life of Sarah were, meaning shezachta behu bechulhu, that she merited that all her life, every day, she did mitzvot and good deeds. And that's why it doesn't say on any other woman in the Torah about her life and about her age. Why? Because nobody was compared to Sarah. Sarah was the only one that reached to the highest level of mitzvot. Not Miriam and not Chava, nobody else. Only one, Sarah, reached to such a high level of mitzvot that all her life was full of mitzvot. That's why the Torah mentioned her death and also the years, how old she was when she died. V'chen b'chola. And this is also with the rest of the women. It doesn't say any woman how old she was in the Torah. He tedabkat b'chayin. Why? Because Sarah was able to attach herself to the world above while she was still in this world. V'alda dila havo chayin. Therefore, her life was real life, not what we say life. You know, in Hebrew, I don't know if you can say it in English. If you go to a vacation, you come back, how was it? You said, asinu kef chaim. We did unbelievable life. I don't know if it works well in English. In Hebrew, it sounds good. When you enjoy yourself, we said kef chaim. That's unbelievable. But or when you enjoy life, sometimes people, you tell them, come and pray today, or come and learn Torah. No, let me enjoy life. I want to enjoy life. This is life. What are you enjoying here? Food? Sleeping? What are you enjoying here? So it says that Sarah had real life, not fake life. Therefore, she was the only one that merited to not only mention in the Torah that she died, but also how many years she was. And this is explaining the beginning of the verse, Chayei Sarah. And just to conclude what it has to do with us, is that we have to understand that whenever I attach myself to Kedusha, to holiness, then I open the valve of an abundance to coming a Shefa on me. Whenever I touch myself to impurity, then all the Shefa that I produce, I give it over to the Sitra Acha, until I do Tshuva and I receive it back. So this should act as an incentive to do good deeds, because I'm producing a lot of Shefa, a lot of abundance. And this should also be an incentive to stay away from bad things, because I'm losing my shefa. Right now, if I do something bad, I lie, I cheat, I steal, I give all my shefa to the other side. The other day, somebody came and told me, he came and whatever, he wanted to make amends with a bad thing. And then we were talking about a few individuals that unfortunately were going and saying Lashon Hara about certain things. And he told me, there were rabbis that whenever they would talk Lashon Hara about them, the rabbis would send presents to the ones who talk Lashon Hara about them and said, please continue saying Lashon Hara about me. And why was the reason? Because if person A says Lashon Hara about person B gets all the mitzvot of person A. That's how bad Lashon Hara is. You give all your mitzvot to who you talk Lashon Hara about. Wow. So he told me, the rabbis, great rabbis, whenever they would be talking Lashon Hara about them, they would say, send presents to those people, please continue, please. So I told him, if somebody says Lashon Hara, what zchuyot does he have for me to take if he's already saying Lashon Hara? But nevertheless, the way it works is when I do something positive, then I bring on myself an abundance, a shefa. If chas v'shalom I do something negative, then I give all this shefa, all this abundance to the sitra acha, to the other side of holiness. This in itself should be, if I'm even looking at it in a very selfish way, why should I give all my shefa to something else? I want to keep it for myself. Bezrat Hashem, maybe that should inspire us to live a more spiritual life, a more honest life, and to understand it's not only about what I get or what I damage, to understand that Sarah Imenu, she's our mother, she's an example. And every moment of her life, she invested in positive things, and we should, Bezrat Hashem, also learn from that and do it and apply that in our life. רבי חנניה בן הקשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה מזאת שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.